He scared me to death. Yo, when I heard that on tape, I was scared to death.
I'm known for yoking Japs and beating them with smoking cats, leaving token blacks with broken backs and open caps. So with that bullshit, step to the rear, son. The last thing you want with Big L was a fair one.
There's no way I could compete. If this is what I gotta compete with, I said there's no way.
Cause in the street brawl, I strike men like lightning. You seen what happened in my last fight, friend? I beat kids with lead pipes. I leave trails of dead mics where I'm from. Niggas, Jews get ran like red lights.
I think he had the ability to, you know, write big records and big choruses and just really records. Yeah.
I buy hot jewels and ice it down while you go to the jewelry store with short dough trying to bring the prices down. You better spread with them $30 kicks on or get whipped on, knocked out cold and pissed on.
It's sad to see him go like that, especially for something that wasn't even really his fault. I used to always tell him, like, you know, you're a star, you're a big dude. Don't stay in these streets right now. Like
you scaring L, not even. Word, cause I'ma be a thug until I stop breathing.
The streets don't love you back. The streets don't love you back.
Hey, boy, Mickey. Mickey's the illest kid in the world, man. What's up, man? Big L. What up, Big L?
Lamont Coleman, also known as Big L, born May 30th, 1974, died February 15th, 1999. The streets don't love you back. If you're a so-called street guy participating in street activity and you don't understand that statement, you probably should stay out of them before you become its next victim. Street and love. Two words that stand out to me because of how interesting it is that two of the most clashing words could survive the same sentence and have been and will continue to be mentioned in black culture as something to aspire to or be respected because you think you have it. But the streets could never love you back. Sure, for a while it can admire you, but what you put in and what it puts in aren't equal. Sadly, most looking for that love from the streets won't be around it long enough to do something good in them, and even if they do, they become resented for it and a bigger target. It's even worse when you achieve fame in other ways but are still around the wolves the streets employ. You can't feed them all. That one you missed that one day may feel for whatever reason that omission was your last, and then pow, lights out. Put you on a shirt, a wall, few raps here and there. Old heads reminisce and speak kind words of what you definitely should have been, but in reality, when you were alive, not many wanted to help you get there. Today's feature got caught up one too many times in the streets, and it ended his promising life. By all accounts, he was supposed to have been one of the biggest rappers of his generation and heir to the throne of New York MCs when Biggie Smalls died. He introduced Jay-Z to the radio world, and the streets chose Jay to contend. He had Nas and Complete Fair shaking in his boots, thinking how he could compete. Everyone, in one way or another, believed in him. Unfortunately, for these reasons, things didn't work out. Here are 3 reasons Big L's growth was stunted. Rest in peace, Big L. Lamont Coleman was born in Harlem, USA, where he spent his entire brief life. The youngest of 3 boys that were brought up by a single mother in the 80s and 90s. It was a constant struggle balancing the temptations the streets of New York had in those times and the passion for rapping he'd fall in love with at 12 years old. He was given many nicknames at the time, but the one he couldn't stand was being called Little L. Already the smallest in his group, he didn't want to be seen as that in the streets, so he went with Big L, and the name became legendary. But not immediately. He met Lord Finesse, a respected lyricist in New York at the time, at an autograph signing in 1990, and sent his friend to ask Finesse to rhyme for him. Lord Finesse offered he could rhyme for his manager, and if the manager liked him, they could talk. The friend went back to L, who had a counter offer. I rhyme for you now, and if it's trash, I won't bother you again. He rhymed for Finesse, blew him away, and that was the beginning of what could have been. Stunt number 1, adapting to the environment. As mentioned, Big L's music career was on the right track. He just met the guy that could change his family's life, who had him everywhere around the industry. So much so that many thought Big L's early records sounded just like a young Finesse. He was 16, 17 years old. Long before that, he, like so many children growing up in the crack-infested, gang-riddled, violent environment, had to adjust or it'd swallow him whole. Wanting to be a rapper in that environment meant you almost had to be in the streets. That's where you honed and sharpened your skills, and also where the inspiration came to write the stories you see every day. With no father in the home, Big L had to become a man in the streets early as well. According to his big brother Big Lee, Big L's stories were a lot about the things he saw around him and even participated in. This culmination of different circumstances and pressure to survive stunted the growth of a creator that just really wanted to create. Unfortunately, in the streets and in hip-hop in that era, your rhymes had to match your name in the street to some degree, or it took the fire off your name and opened the door for more quote-unquote real MCs to come through and take your spot. Personally, I don't think L was about that street life as others were and just wanted to rap. But to make his raps authentic and lead to a record deal and respect, he had to adjust to his environment and live out his days in the streets, which led to him, stunt number 2, actually doing street things. It's one thing to be in the streets and watch from the sidelines while everyone around you raps about the lyrics you write, and another to actually do them yourself. To what extent of his lyrics he carried out will forever be a missing piece, as only he really knows. But by all accounts, Big L was really outside, and not always in a positive way. Let some tell it, it wasn't even always honorable. Stories of him setting up drug dealers who were also acquaintances to be robbed by his crew and give him a cut in the end rang loudly about L's name. Kid Capri, who was instrumental in Big L's debut album, remembers L as the gangsterest rapper on record. Then when you met him, he was nice as can be. He encouraged L to focus more on music and stay out the streets, but L, wanting to be around the people he knew and loved, found it hard to leave. He began to take rap serious in 1990, and by 92 he was signed to Columbia Records. He founded the rap group Children of the Corn in 93 alongside Bloodshed, Mace, McGruff, and Killer Cam.
Yo, check it. Yo, here's another smooth song, so get your groove on. Violate or try to fake jacks and you'll get moved on.
Niggas wanna bring the drama on. Killing Blood, the best dude since Rouse Handsome and Elijah.
Puff a slipping in, start divisioning. Me wearing ice, the rollie watches made in Switzerland.
Just buy 50 and I fuck her hoe till she come. Then she try to act high like she don't know what she done. Now she got amnesia, but you know how that honey goes. Don't sweat it, nigga. Laugh at them funny hoes.
Soon after, he'd be in the direct spotlight of his own. His first single dropped that year, called Devil's Son, that was seen as a shock to the norm. When I was 12, I went to jail for snuffing Jesus, is the line he opens up with. It was horrorcore and it was out there, but Columbia loved it and pushed that along with a few other more radio-friendly records. But Big L's album wouldn't drop for 2 years, and in that time, he may have lost some of the pizzazz, causing his album not to chart well, but still be respected in the holy grail of album reviews, The Source, where he received 4 mics. That's the thing though, Big L was always talented and able to crush being creative, but active in the streets at the same time was a setup and soon cost him his life. Stunt number 3, him being killed.
Grew up with Big L and the dude supposedly killed him. A week before that, though, Big L had tried to kill him. What was he to do? Please don't get in your feelings. When the time's right, I will tell you about the villains. And everybody dead, so it ain't about squealing.
It was the only thing that could stop Big L. He was dropped from Columbia Records because he didn't take kindly to the producers on staff working on his album, as they didn't fit his style or know much about his music. Fast forward to him starting his own label and releasing the first single of his second album called Ebonics. This caught the eye of Dame Dash, who had built his own label alongside Jay-Z called Rockefeller. 1999 rolls around and Dame and Jay wanted to sign L and his crew digging in the crates to Rockefeller, to which Big L was just about to carry out before he was killed in his own hometown by a person in Gerard Woodley that knew Big L since they were both kids. According to some, Woodley and Big L had differences, and Big L allegedly made an attempt on Woodley's life, but was unsuccessful. A week later, Woodley gets the drop on Big L and shoots him 9 times, mostly in the face and chest. Again, some say it was because L set him up to be robbed by his crew, while others believe it was something his brother did, and this was retaliation. Woodley was arrested the same year for the murder, but soon released for lack of evidence. Big L was gone, just like that. One of the more talented rappers of his time, with so much potential, was now gone. His close friends and business partner released his second album in 2000, and it went gold behind the energy surrounding his murder. Imagine what could have been had he been there to promote and see it through. All in all, as you can see, the streets is a funny being that does not care about your career business, only what you or anyone close to you have done in the streets. Being active in the streets ultimately took this talent away too soon. His second album went gold, and his accused killer too died in 2016 after being shot in the head. L was supposed to have been Jay-Z before Jay-Z, but for these reasons, his growth was stunted, and he sadly passed away. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth, and I'm out.